Hello and welcome to my December daily process for days 2, 3, and 4 all together. So I'm going to show you a little bit of what it looks like as I pull together more than one day at a time. We had a busy weekend and I work on Saturdays, so the weekends are actually the hardest part for me to get done because I am busy. So what you see here is I've printed my photos from the weekend. We did a lot of Christmas themed activity, and so this is not all going to go on the same day because I'm a big believer in having some stuff ready in advance. So some of this is going to go ahead and some of it is going to be what I use for this story. And actually some of what you're going to see on my day 2, 3, and 4 here is stuff that we did in November that was already kind of ready to go and just needs to be finished up. So I hope this gives you a really good idea about what my process looks like, and I'm just cutting apart my photos here. I print all my photos on just basic plain white cardstock, which gets a lot of gasps around the community, the scrapbooking community, but I have never seen the quality of my photos suffer too much for it, not enough that I'm willing to switch to like a presentation paper or a photo paper for the cost. So I'm sure that a photo paper would get better results than just plain cardstock. But what happens is I do a lot of printing at home for work as well. I run my own music studio and I end up printing everything on the same. So because of that, I don't want to just leave photo paper in for stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be printed onto photo paper. And I also don't want to pay the price of photo paper for stuff that doesn't need to be printed on photo paper. So I just do everything on plain white cardstock from Staples. This is the 100, so I guess it's more like cover stock than cardstock. It's the 100-pound Staples white. So here is a look at what I had already in terms of my foundation pages and stuff that I have slipped into the album in advance of getting this video started. So here you can see my day 1. Loved that combination of stuff, and it went over onto 2 pages. I typed out my story for day 1, and then here's what I had set out for day 2. And already I actually took something out of here. I had a little 3x4 double stacked in the middle with the 2 in the middle, and it ended up being more space than I wanted. And I don't love how this 2 looks on the darker card, so I'm going to take that white 2 out, and I just got this dark. I'd cut these out myself when I was kind of feeling a little bit of sadness at not getting the black chipboard numbers from the December daily site. And this is just paper that I got at Michael's that's kind of like velveteen. So I am planning on sewing some of these later on, and I'm not thinking to sew today. I'm just going to slip it in for now, and I'm going to keep that option open. Maybe I will sew that in the corner. So you can see I've got an Instax photo here of Max mailing his letter to Santa at the mall. And then this was kind of gathering up our stuff at Starbucks. It was just a really cute shot of him getting ready. And so on day 1, I had typed journaling, and then for day 2 here I have Max wrote the journaling. So he wrote his name and that he tried to be nice. I actually totally forgot to get a picture of the Santa letter, so we did this instead. This is from the Paisley Press 2017 kit, and then he wrote out the things that he asked Santa for. So he asked for the Sea Patroller, and then he's been really into Lego, so he started to write those words himself, and then I just wrote beside what they were so that we would remember in the future, because they were a little bit illegible. Now I did want to write the date, or so put the date, and I actually, believe it or not, don't have a proper date stamp. So what I am going to use is, this is the Allie Edwards time stamp, and I tend to use this for all of my dates. I just switch it to the slash and then I put in the time. So we're in the 12th month, and only recommendation I have whenever you're using a roller stamp like this is always double check your number before you stamp it onto your card. So I'm just going to need a little piece of scratch paper here, which I've got. And I do not clean my stamps, so I'm just going to stamp off whatever might be on here. I'm a terribly messy stamper. It's something I should work on. And then I'll just test out my number here, 01203, and then in the bright red, because I didn't have a lot of bright red in this spread, and I wanted to bring some of that in here on the card without using a red pen. I have found that I really dislike journaling in colorful pens. I think I discovered that in my 2015 December daily, I had some journaling that I had written with colored pens, and just looking back at it, it doesn't hold up as nicely, in my opinion, as journaling with a black pen. So, yeah. Now, you'll notice that I had him write this on December 3rd, but I'm putting it in on day 2, and I am not, the numbers to me aren't necessarily the days. It's more of a 25 things than a this happened on day 1, day 2, day 3. Now my page protectors, I don't know if anybody else had this, I think it was kind of a common problem, are super snug. And they're not the wrong size, they're just really, really snug. So I have been trimming everything just slightly in order, oh, I'm gonna have to do that a little bit more because I don't want the red coming through on the other side. Just slightly trimming all these little cards in order to be able to fit in the pockets. And I am using the Fisker's rotary trimmer. I like that the rotary trimmer gives a little bit of a sharper edge than just the one where you pull the blade across. So there's my day 2, and like I said, I might stitch this yet. I'm just gonna pull it out and leave it on top here so that I can decide as I'm working on the rest of my stuff. Yeah, I think I am just gonna stitch a line kind of right through it there. Now on this side, you'll see I've got this, the details card and this number 3. And this is kind of a happy accident. I had just put this 3 in here because I wanted to use it. And I thought I was gonna have to come up with a clever, creative way to kind of attach it or put it in. And the more it just sat here, the more I liked it. So I'm actually just gonna leave that 3 sideways and in the pocket with nothing else in the pocket to see through. And so this, you can see I had my setup from my foundation pages, and I'm going to remove this December card, and I'm going to be putting in this photo of our living room. And I do think I'm going to do the journaling on this side and the photo on this side, and that might be a little weird. You might not like to do that, but I think it'll work because I want to really just kind of talk about all the things we did over the weekend on this card here, which was decorate the tree. We headed out to the flea market and got some really fun records, and we just did a lot of Christmassy type things. And so that's what I'm going to put on here. And I was thinking this one right in, oh, kind of covers up my big ampersand, which I like, but that's a little too low. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. Well, maybe I'll hold off on that for now. Okay, so I'm just gonna pop this one into the page here. That's where it's gonna go. Maybe I just need a star there. And then I'll do a little bit of journaling on here. So now I've had 3 different, well, I'm going to have 3 different ways of including my journaling. First with the typewritten journaling, Max's journaling, and now I'm going to include my handwriting here. And I like to have a variety, so if that's not what you're after, you may want to try something different, but it is really what I wanted to have going on here. Okay, so the details. So one of the ways that I like to highlight my journaling as I go through is just, you can change the weight by going over it again. Or if you have different weights of pens, you can use different weights of pens, which is really fun to do as well. I also like to add a little box around the words. And in this case, I only realized after I did the first word that I had also boxed the numbers. So I'm going to come back in here with some stickers as well for the numbers for the 3 things that I'm talking about here in the details. So number 1, pottery class to finish up the last few Christmas presents I'm making 6 pieces out of the kiln, and they look awesome. Number 2, Super Flea with Max and Chris to get 6 new Christmas records. And then number 3, decorating the tree with Kristen and Ben. We ordered Chinese food and it was so delish. And I'm just gonna put delish in a box here because it was amazing. We had the best. Actually, it was really funny because we had just had some, about 3 weeks ago with Chris's family in Red Deer, we had Chinese food. And I thought it was the worst Chinese food we'd ever had, and Chris loved it. And so we came back home to have Chinese food now, 3 weeks later, from our regular place. And I was like, oh my goodness, our regular place is so much better than that other food we had. And Chris was kind of like, yeah, I'm a little disappointed in it. So it was funny to see those two perspectives on 2 different Chinese food restaurants. So that'll just go in. I'm gonna just grab some stickers for that. All right, at least I had refills downstairs. There we go. So that one's gonna go here on this side. And then I've got my photo of the living room all decorated on this side. So day 4 is gonna be pretty simple. This 4 is so beautiful. It's from Felicity Jane. It was just in her shop. It wasn't even intended for Christmas. I love to just pick up numbers whenever I see them throughout the year because I know I'll make good use of them when it gets to December daily. And this was just a photo I took of myself coming home from preschool drop-off in the snow, and just really enjoy including a selfie of myself every year. And I'm going to just journal a little bit around the edge. So I just wrote, I love the time I have for myself after preschool drop-off to enjoy the house and season for me. Because sometimes that's a big deal too, is I forget to take that time to slow down and look at stuff for me. Now I'm going to put a little bit of, these are going to kind of be my theme running through the album here, but I don't want any of, I know this is going to sound really ridiculous, but I don't want any of the gold ones in this pocket. On the day 1, I picked out all the blue ones, so I put in the white, black, and gold, and then on this one I just want the white, the black, and the blue. One more black one. Yeah, that'll be good. So this is what I want to go in. And I'll smoosh that out in just a second. Now, I've never fused my pockets because I've never been too worried about it. But if you were wanting to keep your stuff inside you could either washi tape this or fuse it if you have a fuse tool, and that would be a good way to keep everything inside there. So you can see this top corner just has the little transparent trees. This is a card that I made myself. It's available in my Cozy Christmas set that you can find in my Etsy shop. I'll link that in the description of the video here as well. And so there you have it. I'm done up until day 4, so I'm caught up straight away to today. And I'm loving the way that it's coming together so far. So the only thing I have left to do here is to stitch on this too, and I'll be good to go. So there it is stitched. I just did a little bit of a back and forth, and I'll pop that into the pocket. Thanks for joining me. I will hopefully be back later on in the week with some more process videos, and enjoy your December daily.